Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. The world is going to need an agnostic bridge currency more than they ever thought before. Now, in the members only section, I made a post a few days back. This post was very, very important. It's about Saudi Arabia, or it was about Saudi Arabia's interest in joining the BRICS nations. This is why you're going to need, or one of the reasons why, the world is going to need an agnostic bridge currency, and they're all flowing together. XRP into XLM, into XDC, into Algorand, Hedera, so on and so forth. They're going to need the new financial system. The rest of the world is sick and tired of the West bullying them. All right. Now, at some point, if the West wants to survive, because their old methods are not working. You see, sanctions didn't work. It worked in reverse. And Europe is getting just devastated right now. It's going to be a cold winter. You understand? So their old methods don't work. So at some point, unless one side is going to be absolutely just destroyed, and I doubt it. I doubt they're going to let that happen. If that's not going to happen, they have to come to the table. It's another sort of example of mutually assured destruction. And really not really, I wouldn't say mutually assured destruction. But the reason I think like that is because both sides really need each other. They do. So you saw, and I'm trying to be careful with this, right? You saw what the United States did with pulling certain things out of China, right? Okay, that's not good for the economy of China because they needed those mines and, those technologies and stuff. They needed that. All right, so the West benefits them in that way. But then also we know that other nations benefit the West also, oil, that they still need coal, that they still need the exporting of wheat from one of the biggest wheat exporting regions in the world has been very inconsistent or non-existent at certain points, right? So they both benefit each other. And this is what a lot of people are not seeing, that the world is not like it used to be. It's very much a house of cards because they all have been operating like a one world system light version for quite some time. So once again, circling back around, they're going to have to come to the table and say, hey, we still need to do business with each other, even though we don't agree with each other. That would be the logical. Now, don't get me wrong. They could take a very illogical path and it could be very bad for the world. But there is a logical path. And if they come to the table and say, OK, well, listen, we're not going to use a SWIFT system anymore. And also, if Saudi Arabia does join BRICS nations, the petrodollar is done. It's over. The worth of the dollar. So, because a lot of people want to cash out, when everything goes to all time highs, a lot of people in the future still think they're going to cash out into the dollar, which might still be possible. But what will the dollar be worth at that time? People have to remember that. The value of the currencies, I know not everybody trades currencies to make a profit and such like that, but you have to all still keep that in mind, that the value of currencies fluctuates. So how much is your dollar going to be worth in the world at that particular time? Right? So the petrodollar is over if that happens. So anyway, I made a post in the members only section. And it was, I don't know if it was this one, but I'm going to read this headline. Robert Kiyosaki says U.S. dollar is toast, citing Saudi Arabia's desire to join BRICS nations. Here's a little taste of the quote. Quote, if Saudi Arabia joins BRICS, it would be a promotion to the Middle East countries to strengthen their ties with BRICS nations, BRICS countries, and weaken, I'm going to assume that the rest of that quote was the West. You even have this on TellAssureEnglish.net. Saudi Arabia is interested in joining BRICS. This was everywhere. This was everywhere. This should be on every news station in the West. This should be on every news station around the world. Things are changing. If this were to happen and they come to the table and they say we need a agnostic bridge currency and they're utilizing any combination, because remember, MCBDCs, MBDCs, multi-central bank digital currencies, we covered that extensively last year. Before anybody ever knew about it, we covered that last year. All right, so those videos are there if you want a more in-depth, some more in-depth thoughts from me on those particular topics, but you can combine them together for smart contracts, one for on-demand liquidity or instant liquidity, one for retail, one for wholesale. You can combine them in any possible way. And you can even have them overlaid over legacy system offerings if that suits the central bank's purposes, right? But either way, if this occurs, if this goes down and this occurs, the prices of, let's say, XRP, Algorand, XLM, Hedera, etc., all the bank coins, they would be astronomical theoretically. Quant, how could they not be? Now, let's put another piece of the puzzle together, all right? I know everybody had to see recently because there were so many headlines about, other countries, I'm going to say it like that, other countries and them but utilizing crypto for their purposes. So they already have an interest in using crypto, using distributed ledger technologies as an agnostic bridge currency where they cannot, where the dollar in SWIFT cannot be weaponized against them. Now, also keep in mind, so you have all of this happening. All of this is leaning in favor of the prices of the bank coins just exploding as the new financial system. You make your own judgments, but this is what it's all leaning towards heavily. There was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. We're talking about the other countries using crypto as an agnostic bridge currency, petrodollar being over, and that's not including all the problems they're having with oil. So then you have that issue. There's so many little intricacies going on. Horrible monetary policy, horrible foreign policy. So then you have the advent of the West, their politicians in the West. They have been very aggressive with the politicians and the high ranking officials and the royals from these other countries as of recent. I don't know if anybody's seeing that. Are people actually watching the interviews? Like some of the statements almost sound like threats, right? So then you have that then puts more weight behind, let's say, Saudi Arabia saying, you know what? We don't have to acquiesce to what you're saying. We accommodated you for decades, like from the United States, having certain requests of them, and then let's just say on the OPEC issue saying listen, we're just going to keep it the same. We're going to cut. And then it makes it a more desperate situation because you see what's going on in Latin America, right? So some of them are already at max capacity with the oil. There's nothing more they can do. So now that the West is having pretty much beg for oil, pretty much. They can say that they're going to release reserves, all that they want. That's not enough. And that's not going to last very long, right? And not only did OPEC say, hey, we're going to either just keep production the same or we're going to cut. It was something like that. But then also the West was making requests to the oil companies of the West. And what did they say? No, we don't know about that. No, we don't know about that. You're trying to put us out of business. So why should we help you? It's pretty much the sentiment, right? So the world order is shifting and changing. That puts the bank coins in a very, very good position. What's about to happen, this change, there's no telling where all of this can go. Don't ever put the bank coins in the same category with regular crypto. They're not anywhere near them, not at all. And that's why so many big name people are getting behind them. I've seen more big name people now than ever get behind XRP, get behind Algorand, and not be afraid anymore. Even though let me tell you something, when you start covering these things, there's big backlash to it. Behind the scenes, there's backlash. They don't care anymore because they see this is our chance for a once in a lifetime sum of value to make a once in a lifetime amount of money. What you do with it after that is up to you. But that's why they're coming out. This is why the governments all around the world are sitting down with XDC, sitting down with XRP, sitting down with XL. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And they're going to continue to do it. This is why there's the big push now. We'll see what the results are going to be. But there's the big push now. And we covered that, I believe, some in the last video or two, for the CFTC to regulate everything as commodities and not the SEC. There's a big push for that. Everything is happening for a reason. And the weight is starting to shift in the favor of the bank coins. It has been for quite some time, but now it's heavily shifting in favor of the bank coins. So now let's start here with this first article. Okay. I appreciate every single one of you being here. Thank you so much for, coming here, watching, listening, clicking the like button. I hope you do. I would greatly appreciate that. So now, this is an article from U.Today. They've been doing a great job. Make sure you check them out, support them, okay? We're just going to touch very lightly on this. XRP's last piece of puzzle snapped in place, states lawyer. Now, in this article here, they're going to, they go pretty in depth, so give it a read. But they're talking about the 3,000 members of the XRP army that are now involved in this legal battle here via affidavits, right? So I'm gonna read this little tidbit. Bringing in the affidavits of XRP holders is the last piece of the puzzle, according to another attorney, Jeremy Hogan. XRP holders are responding to the securities charge with two arguments at once. Firstly, the cryptocurrency was purchased for use as payment or for other non-investment purposes. That's one. Now, this next part is very, very key. It says, on the other hand, those XRP holders who have confessed to investment purposes have said that they did not expect the return on their investment to come from Ripple, but from the exchange rate difference. Yes, yes, yes. I couldn't have put it better myself. This is powerful. This is the most clear, thought out way I've ever heard it put. This was great. Yes, because the people that are investors, we're waiting on the banks. The banks have to use XRP. The banks have to use XRPL. Right? Interbank payments, B2B, cross-border payments. So when the price goes up, it's because of the use of XRP outright. A lot of people don't see that. They don't understand that. This was powerful for them to say this here. In my humble opinion, I love every little bit of it. We're going to win. We're going to crush the SEC. I can't wait. I think I'm more excited than everybody else. I really do. I feel that way. I feel that way, greatly so. And Quant is going to explode. I have to put them out there because I see what's happening. That's why I've been like so heavy on Quant lately. I see what's going on with these banks, and they're oh my goodness, I don't want to say too much. But and remember, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? I'm just a humble researcher. It doesn't matter to me whether you buy some or not. That's not why I'm saying anything. I'm just sharing my enthusiasm with you and a few things that I found. But what Quant has been doing with the banks down in Latin America, with the banks in Europe, it's mind-blowing. And they have announcements. Well, I'll wait until they make those announcements and then you be the judge on that, right? But I'm very excited about Quant. So when people are coming out now with articles and videos and they're like, Quant to 5,000, Quant to 10,000. Well, let me add my 2 cents. Easily. As long as Quant serves its purpose. Oh, I almost smacked my fan over. As long as Quant serves its purpose, easily those prices, man. Look at the circulating supply, then look at the utility, then look at the circulating supply of Bitcoin. There is no comparison to what Quant can do. Do some calculations. You're going to like the numbers you come up with. I'll leave that there. Let's continue on to another article here. So this article is titled An Emotional Flood from XRPL Team on Nick Bougales Farewell. So Mr. Bougales is leaving Ripple. Now, what's important here is who they're going to replace Nick Bougales with. Nick Bougales was very important. Let me read this little tidbit here. It says Nick Bougales, the software engineer, cryptographer, and author of the XLS20 amendment proposal, who had been designated as the director of engineering at Ripple, recently announced his resignation from the post. Right? So let's scroll down here. I just wanted to read this little bit here. Though his decision to leave the company was pretty difficult task for him, he asserted that he would move forward with the plan. Furthermore, he stated that he wouldn't join any other crypto-related companies in the future. He emphasized that his years with Ripple were much interesting, that he worked on a project that he loved and a goal that he believed in. This man was very important to the team, to motivating the team. They're going to have to replace him with somebody huge. I'm ready for it. And I know Ripple has some powerful people waiting, salivating to jump on top of this position. if we can get the right person in here, hold on to your blazers because we're going to take off even more. Don't get me wrong. Ripple's been doing a fantastic job, but there's always a little bit more we can do. There's a little bit further we can go. Okay. And we want that, right? We want that for anybody building on the XRPO. We want the best for anybody building on Stellar, Algorand, and such like that. That way the products can be used to their full capacity. And then that price can raise. That price can raise. That's what we want. So although we are losing Mr. Bugalis, at the same time, we could gain something huge here. Let's continue on here, okay? So then we have this other article here. David Schwartz explains why he's not leaving Ripple. I think this is very good. And let's read this little tidbit here. It says, Schwartz says he would, quote, kind of like starting a new project from scratch. The executive says that there are a lot of new things that he would like to work on. However, he doesn't want to make a merely perfunctory effort. Schwartz confessed that he no longer has the passion necessary to kick off a new major project. I understand completely what Mr. Schwartz is talking about. It's one of those things where you've done a lot in life, right? You've done almost everything that you wanted to do. And though you still have the interest, like, yes, I would love to do something new. You've built this mountain of a project. And at that point, you don't have enough passion to build another mountain. So you don't want to halfway do anything. And so you sort of say to yourself, let me just see this project through. And you know what? I would love to have Mr. Schwartz here to the end to see XRP explode, to see the XRPL do what it was made to do, and still have his input and things of that nature. So I think this is a very good thing, in my humble opinion. And hey, if you ever see this video, Mr. Schwartz, we definitely appreciate you, sir. So now let's continue on here. So now we're going to get to a little bit of Algorand news. Algorand is always doing great things. I'm very excited about Algorand. We've been talking about them since the beginning of the channel. This is from metallabs.io. Another great thing that Algorand is doing here. It says every warrior turtle NFT you purchase helps Australia Zoo and the Australia Zoo Wildlife Hospital continue their critical work of saving and studying these wonderful marine animals. People love this kind of thing. And this is just good outright to help the animals and such. Then you also have Algorand feeding millions of children in India. Remember that? This is why I say Algorand is the people's coin. Now, because they are the people's coin, people will love them. Companies will love them. They'll want to be associated with Algorand. And then that can spin into them using the Algorand blockchain. Them using Algo itself, them using Algorand to put out their NFTs or to use the utility aspect of Algorand for themselves. And that can lead to the raising in the price of Algo. This is all very good. Then if you scroll down and look at who they have that is representing this, it's Bindi Irwin, Steve Irwin's daughter, the crocodile hunter. This, you don't get better advertising than this. You don't. This is top shelf advertising. This is one of the most respected people when it comes to animals on the planet. So I'm very happy about this. It's very good. And man, the years have flown by, man. I remember Bindi Irwin was just a little girl when Steve was out there, taking care of the animals and stuff like that. So the name Crocodile Hunter was definitely not accurate, but he cared for the crocodiles and the animals, stuff like that, and he was the bravest animal person on TV before like Coyote Peterson. Now these guys, these youth now only know Coyote Peterson, but Steve was the original. He would get out there hands on, rescue snakes with his bare hands instead of using the metal stick and stuff like that. At that time, you also had Jeff Corwin out there. You had Jeff Corwin. You guys remember Jeff? Jeff Corwin, he did use the metal sticks and stuff and kept his distance, but it was just Jeff being safe. Everybody has their own style. I never had any less respect for Jeff Corwin because he wasn't hands-on like Steve Irwin. I enjoy both of these gentlemen's work growing up, but nonetheless, you don't get better advertising than this. When it comes to advertising and placement of your brand, Algorand is number one. Clearly, There's no other blockchain that's doing better than Algorand, in my humble opinion. That's in the Bankcoin family, at least, and actually going to dominate in the future. Let me throw that caveat in as well. There's others that are advertising, doing a good job advertising, but they're not going to dominate in the future. They're not a protocol that the people are going to literally need. Like you see how Algorand is dealing with the states. They're doing a lot of work in Miami, even having, they're very deep with the Miami Accelerator, right? If you don't follow Miami Accelerator on Twitter, you might want to do that. Algorand Miami Accelerator, all right? And don't worry, I know everything is in Spanish. You can even just click the translate button to read the tweets. They are doing major work, and that's only going to carry over into other states as they want to do, as well as Florida is doing, as well as Miami is going to be doing with building their infrastructures on Algorand. So Algorand is doing an amazing job, in my humble opinion. So then we also have this from Algorand. It says, our campus champions in action at the B-Chain Law 4SG conference. Love what our at Algo Foundation students are accomplishing. They've been churning out students. Remember I said, the future of these blockchains, the future of these DLTs, it resides with the youth. Educating them, teaching them the benefits of them, and then also teaching them how to build dApps, MDApps, all of these different things on the distributed ledger technology so they can thrive into the future. Now, DLTs, as I always say, are one of the few things where a rising tide literally is going to raise all ships. Everybody wins with these things. So this is very, very good. I was happy to see this. And so you also have Ripple doing university programs now. We saw that announced over the summer. You have Stellar with university programs. This is very good. I want to see more of this, but I want to see more of this in different areas. Spread it out a little bbit. Let everybody get a fair opportunity. But this is good. I'm happy to see this. All right. So now let's just lightly touch on Quant. So this was a tweet from Quant, and it says, on emerging hashtag digital assets regulation at Gilbert Verdian says in at Forbes. Now, I wanted to cover this in the last video, but I'm not sure that I did. So we're going to cover it now. It says, quote, get this. We're in the middle of the transformation of money. The financial system has the opportunity to evolve something that's fit for purpose for the next 30 to 40 years. Look how he phrased that. Gilbert Verdian knows the new financial system is here, and Quant is at the helm of it as the over ledger. Can't use bridges. I've been telling people, you had like 2 or 3 bridges get hacked in the last 2 months. Who wants to use that? What bank wants to use a bridge system so they can get robbed blind? The hackers are having their way with the bridges. You need a gateless system. That's Quant. Right now at the forefront. I mean, there might be other gateless, bridgeless, sorry about the gateless. There might be other bridgeless systems, but Quant is out front. And Quant has the most dealings with banks right now. Not only that, they were at CBOS once again and made it clear. We're here to talk to partners. We're here to talk to potential new clients. We're here to educate. They were at CBOS to dominate and didn't even hide it. I like that. I want that kind of fire. I need more of it. I need you closing more deals. I need you making more partnerships. That's going to make us a ton of money. And I want all of that money. Don't you? So I have to love a company like this. That's another reason why that price of Quant has skyrocketed at one point and probably can do it again, because they're open with their intention and the people can see the huge deals that this company is doing. So, okay, now let's cover a few other things here now, okay? So this is an article titled, Fed officials expect debate on rate peak and when to slow hikes. Let's scroll down here and read a little, just a little tidbit here. It says U.S. central bankers said the next phase in their campaign to curb inflation will be to debate how high to raise interest rates and when to slow the pace of increases. I think it's a little premature to have that discussion. Because you haven't, and just in my humble opinion, and I believe in many people's humble opinion, who are seeing skyrocketing inflation. And remember, inflation wasn't even across the board. So the world was feeling it in certain sectors, but not others. And now those other sectors are starting to increase dramatically. So 75 basis points is not enough. You have to do more. And I've said this before, you should have done more long ago and gotten it over with. But they didn't want to do that because most of the world follows what the Fed, the central bank in the United States, does. And the Fed, in my humble opinion, didn't want to piss everybody off before elections. Because to raise the interest rates the way that you need to, it would be to crush the economy. A lot of people would lose their jobs. They would be upset and angry. And when people get upset and angry, they start to get a little clarity in their mind. They say, who did this to me? And they're going to look at, certain entities, and those entities could pay the price at the polls. You see a lot of political maneuvering right now as the dance at the polls is at hand, right? Everybody's doing a little something to impress their people. I mean, if you're really into that, I'm a money maker. I don't care about these political things, these silly things. I see the truth. I see the truth behind it all. How it's all of it is a stage. All of it is a play. Let's continue on here. I don't remember what so I think it's a little premature to discuss something of that nature when you haven't even taken enough actions right now to protect the people and lower inflation and protect the economies. Now let's continue on here. So let's continue on with this article here. Moody's lowers UK's outlook to negative. Let's scroll down and read this little tidbit here. Moody's Investor Service on Friday changed the United Kingdom government's ratings outlook to negative from stable. Moody's attributed the change in the outlook to heightened unpredictability in policy making. I told you they don't know what they're doing. And so many people go against me on that, and I can respect it, but I just disagree. They don't look. I get it. People have been raised to believe in their politicians, in their governmental officials, that they are the brightest, the most brilliant. They know what they're doing. And you have that hope that they can steer the ship. And sometimes they can. But unfortunately, right now, it doesn't seem that they know what they're doing. All right. They have steered the ship into an iceberg. Look at what he said. I'm going to tell you what he said one more time. Moody's attributed the change in the outlook to, this is a professional, quote, heightened unpredictability in policy making. This is not just here. This is across the entirety of the West. It says amid weaker growth prospects and high inflation and risks to the UK's debt affordability from likely higher borrowing and risk of a sustained weakening in policy credibility. So that should tell you a whole lot right there, right? So credit ratings are essentially credit scores for governments and companies. They express an opinion about the capacity and willingness of large borrowers to repay their debts. Germany, Canada, Switzerland, Australia, and the United States have some of the best credit ratings in the world, while Argentina, Nigeria, Pakistan, and India have some of the lowest. That's questionable, in my opinion. The UK, and that's going to change depending on the dynamics of the currencies in the world and dollar dominance. That's going to change, in my humble opinion. The UK is in the midst of suffering from a string of blows to its economy, which the Bank of England has said may already be in a recession. It is. Oh man, these individuals are so delusional. Soaring food costs. I was just talking about that. Soaring food costs drove the annual rate of inflation to 10.1% in September, returning it to July's 40-year high. That may prompt the central bank to hike interest rates more aggressively. Didn't I just say that? I said they already should have been doing this. Maybe they should be held accountable. So, may prompt the central bank to hike interest rates more aggressively when it meets on November 3rd in order to tame rising prices. Okay, so let's continue on here. So this article here is titled, Emerging Markets Latin American FX hits over 2-week high as dollar weakens. Stocks track Wall Street higher. Okay, so let's read just a little tidbit here. Resource-heavy Latin America currencies rose on Friday as the dollar weakened on a report of a possible easing of Federal Reserve policy, while stocks headed for sharp weekly gains, outperforming their emerging market peers supported by Brazilian shares. The MSCI's index for LATAM currencies, MILA 00000 CUS, gained 0.7% to hit its highest level since October the 4th. Regional stocks in MILA PUS advanced 3.2% and were on track to end the week 8.2% higher, with Brazil's Bovespa index BVSP leading weekly gains. A jump in oil and copper prices also buoyed the commodity-linked region's assets, with the Mexican peso MXN and Chilean peso CLP rising 0.6% each, and Brazil's real BRBY adding 1.3%. The U.S. central bank's aggressive tightening measures have sapped risk sentiment across the globe on fears it might tip the U.S. economy into a recession. While emerging markets started their monetary policy tightening cycles well before developed peers, inflation has consistently exceeded expectation in those countries. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.